Hi there, thanks very much for tuning in. My name's Rosanna Bellini. I'm from Open Lab at Newcastle University, and I'm here to present this paper on behalf of my awesome co-authors. So intimate partner violence, or IPV, is a very serious and widespread problem, and it affects approximately 1 in 3 women and 1 in 6 men across their lifetime. Within this work, we focus on a subset of IPV, known as intimate partner surveillance, or IPS, which is the deliberate monitoring of a current or former intimate partner with or without their knowledge or consent, and through technical and non-technical means. A recent survey really enforces just how commonplace these behaviours are, with a significant number of respondents admitting to actively installing spyware to monitor their current or former intimate partner. Research that captures an abuser's understanding of their own abusive behaviours in person actually helps to design interventions that really challenge these behaviours when they arrive. And recent research has examined the concerning ecosystems of stalkerware tools, and our most recent work have a look at the online spaces that abusers may use to source these. However, what we're currently lacking is an understanding in how people describe their interest in or experience of perpetrating intimate partner surveillance outside of the context of research studies and interventions. The results of our paper lead to 4 original study contributions to this space that seek to really gain a better understanding of abusers of IPS. For the interest of time, we go into detail of one of these in this presentation. So from our prior work, we identified many descriptions of IPS online, took a narrative format. So these are typically stories, which have a collection of characters and a progression of events containing IPS related behaviours. We identified that storytelling is a powerful mechanism to disclose interest in and experience of perpetrating intimate partner surveillance. So within this work, we analysed 556 stories on 3 publicly accessible forums, and these were dedicated to the discussion of sexual infidelity. So we immediately identified that perpetrators of IPS are harnessing the emotive power of sharing these personal narratives, and they're doing this in order to validate and legitimise these abusive behaviours. We, as a result, use 4 different types of qualitative analyses to investigate this phenomenon further. So on this slide, we provide a sample of the story in this data set. So this poster here contributes a story where they are concerned about their target, in this case their wife's behaviours, and that she's displayed a change in her behaviour. This poster responds by accessing their phone without permission to disprove or prove their suspicions. And we know that their target responds by adding a passcode to their phone, which the poster now is actively seeking information from the board on how to bypass this security method to actually continue their surveillance. So in this work, we found that despite the variety of different stories within the 556 stories, we were able to extract common themes or kind of narrative pathways that have an overview of people's description of an interest in or their personal use of intimate partner surveillance. So as you can see here, we've got some reoccurring themes, and this follows kind of a very rough 3-act structure. So you've got a setup of where the target had behaved differently. You've got a confrontation where a poster decides to gather more evidence, and a resolution. So in this case, they sought advice from forum members. So we note here that the majority of the stories here actually ended with seeking advice from forum members, actually suggesting that these sites are not only a good source of data and understanding on abuse of IPS, but they're actually a really good site for intervention and suggestions that we disclose in terms of intervention design in our full paper. For our other 3 contributions, we detail 5 different ways that stories are leveraged within these forums, which also include using stories as a means to elicit guidance on how to conduct more severe forms of IPS, to also using stories to boast about their skill in using it against others. We also list 21 justifications that posters use to actively leverage excuses for minimization and legitimization practices for their choices to use surveillance against their targets. And we also conclude our paper with a 4-stage conceptual framework deviated from grounded theory that shows how a poster moves from contemplating using IPS against a partner to actively reflecting on their behaviour if conducting an attack. So if you would like to see a longer presentation of results and the rest of these contributions, please see the description below. But otherwise, thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much to my wonderful co-authors, and I'm ready to take some questions. Thank you very much.